This is my iPad mini. I use it for everything. Today we're going to look at the top 10 apps on here that I must have and I use all the time for productivity, content creation, and more importantly, just making the boring things more enjoyable to do. Let's talk about it. How's it going? Digital DIY Geek here, and welcome back. Now, really quickly, I just want to say thank you for all the love you all been showing on my last video for the iPad, why I bought the iPad mini in April of 2023. Now, I have to say, this is a business channel. It's not so much a tech channel. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I seen all the love y'all was showing me, and it made me want to go and just turn this into a tech channel because it's the first video I've ever had to just take off like it did. But I gotta stay true to who I am. I gotta stay true to my subscribers that was already here. And if you want to see my take on tech, go over to Will Talk Tech. After I released that video, I realized that I love talking about tech so much, and I'm not as bad as I thought I would be at it. So I decided to create my own channel talking about tech. So if you enjoyed it, it'll be the first link in the description, Will Talks Tech, and I talk about all the cool stuff that I got going on right now as far as my tech and things like that go. Let's dig in. So the very first app I want to talk to you about, which these apps are in no particular order, but I do want to section it. So we're going to start off with capturing information and just getting things done. And that's going to lead us to OmniFocus. Now, why do I pick OmniFocus over every other app out there? It's really simple. OmniFocus is a powerhouse for power users, meaning that OmniFocus, if you look online, it's not a lot of people talking about OmniFocus, and the people that are using OmniFocus to its full potential ain't talking about it because they're power users. OmniFocus takes advantage of things people can't see. Like a lot of people look at like Things or TickTick or Todoist and those type of apps, and they like it because it looks pretty. And I understand that to a certain extent. However, OmniFocus is a powerhouse and it allows you to do things that you can't do with no other app out there. And I'm going to show some of those things to you later on in this video. But for right now, this is my OmniFocus. As you can see, my inbox is getting cluttered. Tomorrow is my review, so I'll be able to go in and move this stuff around. But if we just click over here, what I really like about OmniFocus is you can see right here where it says create top 10 for iPad mini. I'm doing that today. Tomorrow I have to finish it up. But let's say that I couldn't finish it up tomorrow. I could literally come over to my forecast, or I could do it from here. All I gotta do is hold this and I could just drag and drop this to another day outside of this one. And I can drop it here. Now, if I come over here, I can see that now it's not due until the 27th. Now, obviously, I want this to be done tomorrow because I want you to be able to upload this tomorrow. So I'm going to technically have everything done today and ready to be watched 6 a.m. Monday morning, right? So this is why I like OmniFocus. Now, the last reason why I really like OmniFocus is because I have a lot of times where I have this thing where I want to know what's the last thing I did. And then apps like Things to Do Us, they do have logs, and that's cool and all. But I like being able to create a perspective. These that's going down here, like this review, this project, these are perspectives that we can create, customized to whatever we're doing. So in my case, if I'm doing Will Talk Tech, which is the new channel that I just started, I can create a perspective for it to only show up the things that's been completed. And I can go into that perspective and see what I've done, where I'm at, and what I've already gotten finished. I gotta have that feature in every single thing I do. And I get it. All those other ones have like smart folders and things like that. But I'm telling you, once you actually use perspective and OmniFocus, it changes the way you look at all that other stuff. So that's number one, OmniFocus. Staying along the same lines of to-do apps, we gotta talk about TickTick. Now, here's the deal. I absolutely love this app, not because it's a great to-do app, but because of this one feature. Let me show you. I'm going to go into my content pipeline, which is right here. I'm going to click on one that's already been finished, like the shortcuts. All right, so if I open this up, look at this. I scroll down. What you're looking at right now is 100% is what's at the bottom of the YouTube description on this video. So this right here, this where this line stops at, All of this is on the YouTube video. I'm able to capture the thumbnail and the URL link. So if I ever want to reference back to this video, I can just come right here and grab the URL link, and I got everything I need, from the title to the URL to the reference to the links that was in it to everything. So I absolutely love this, and this is the main feature that has me sticking with TickTick, because this is the one thing that OmniFocus cannot do well. I mean, you can add text to OmniFocus, you can add attachments to OmniFocus, but what you can't do is you can't categorize it in a way that it looks neat, pretty, and elegant. So that's the main reason why I have TickTick. Now, the major downside to TickTick, and the reason why I could never switch over to TickTick or leave OmniFocus, is because when it comes to the power user stuff like automation and things like that, TickTick is sorely lacking, and you'll see that as well in an upcoming app when I get to it and show it to you. All right, so that's number 2, TickTick. Now, you know we got to talk about a calendar app, and my calendar app of choice is Fantastical. Now, why Fantastical is really simple. If I click right here and I say, let's say create new video, and we can say today, and we can say from 10 p.m. to, let's say 11:30 p.m. And I say done. Now I can say show more. And what I really like about this is, if you look right here, that time is naturally input. The calendar has it set for today. Today is July 23rd, 2023. So it has it set for July 23rd, 2023 from 10 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., which means I don't have to come down here and fiddle with the dates or fiddle with the time if I don't want to. And then down here, I'm able to switch this up to whatever that app is for. So GTD green is obviously a business. GTD purple is personal. Health is yellow, and our time is blue. Really, really simple stuff. So I can delete this event because I don't want that event, but that's the main reason why I like OmniFocus. Now, I do have a lot more stuff on my calendar. I just switched it off so that I can show you my calendar without having to worry about any sensitive information. And that's another cool feature of OmniFocus, where you're able to show, you can have multiple calendars. So you can have a calendar for your business, which is what I'm looking at. You can have a calendar for your personal. You can have a calendar for your content. You can have a calendar for everything, for each part of your life if you want, and have it broken down. If you want to at any time, you can focus in on just that one calendar. So OmniFocus is my calendar of choice, which is coming in at app number 3. Now, let's talk about some research tools. One research tool that I absolutely can't live without is MindNote. This right here that you're looking at right now is MindNote. And we can come right here and let's do one that I've already done. So we're going to do Prime Day Picks. This is one that I put up on Will Talks Tech channel. And if you look right here, this is how I like to use MindNote. I use this for coming up with my ideas. So for example, content type, I have this as popular trending, because obviously it is based around, if I click right here to fold it back up, this is based around Prime Day. Prime Day is a trend, comes every year. Then I have thumbnails. So I went out and I looked at the different thumbnails that were killing it at the top of the page when it comes to YouTube, and I wanted to see what could I do like it. Now, since I didn't have any like super duper expensive stuff to do, I did something similar to this one right here, whereas it was more so curiosity driven than it was showing actually what was in the box. All right. And I could show you, because let's see here. We're going to click right here to fold this up. And then you can see the title. I came up with my Prime Day Tech and Accessory buys. And then you can see my hooks, and you can see my script is right here. So I really can't live without this. And I'm telling you, before I started using this right here, which is MindNote, to be able to really outline my YouTube videos, outline what I wanted to say. I don't do scripts because scripts I like to talk how I like to talk. So if I write a script, I'm going to sound robotic. I'm 110% sure I can learn how to do it, but it's just not how I want to come off in a video. This right here, me talking to you, is more natural. Me talking about whatever comes to my mind, basically, and how I use these things. Now, what I do in scripts, and I'll show it to you, we can click this script, click right here, and you can see here I have basically the hook, I have all that cool stuff, and then what I'm able to do with that is when I'm ready to, I'm able to export it out of here to another one. So let me show you how that would look. When I click on the arrow down, I can click on export, and I would usually export it as markdown. As you can see, it's already highlighted. Once I click on that, I can send it to the app, and usually the app I would send it to is drafts, which you can see if I open this up right here, you can see all of that comes over. And since we're here, this is a good time for me to segue in to my must-have content writing app, which is drafts. Everything that I do starts in draft. Now, let me show you one of the cool features I like about drafts. So I'm going to highlight all this and I'm going to delete it. This right here, if I slide that over and I click on We'll Talk Tech, this gives me everything I need to know to make sure I'm creating the most powerful video possible based on all the things that I've learned from YouTube courses and things like that. And I'm able to come down here, fill it in, and make sure that I have the key points that I need here to make sure I have a great video that I record. This right here is invaluable. Being able to create templates and just constantly use those templates over and over again is awesome. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're any type of automation, anything, you're probably thinking, well, I can do that with Text Expander. And you're 100% right. You can do that with Text Expander, but drafts don't stop there. Drafts also allows us to send this file. I can send this file to, let's say, anywhere I want. I can send it to Bear if I wanted to, but Bear's not on here. But I can send it to, let's say, Ulysses if I wanted to. I could click here and send it over, but I don't want to send this to Ulysses. I sent anyway. But I can send it anywhere I want. I can even come up in here and create a tweet if I wanted to and just say anything. And then I could come over here and then I can find Twitter. Let's see, where's Twitter at? And that's a message. And I can click on send run action. Well, I don't have it set up, but the moral of the story is I can do all that stuff here. Now, on my phone, I have all those different actions set up because I use them on my phone all the time. On here, I'm not really typing up a tweet on my iPad to send it anywhere. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to go straight to the Twitter app. But the moral of the story is this is an extremely powerful app, coming in at number 4, if I'm not mistaken. My next research tool that I have to have without a doubt would be DevinThink. Now, again, DevinThink is for the power users. The main reason why I use DevinThink is for 2 main reasons. One, I want to be able to have, if you know anything about Para, where you're building a second brain, or GTD, I want to be able to have a resource that I can always go to. I know that some people use Obsidian, or some people use different apps or 20, 30 different apps to do this. I like having everything inside of DevinThink because it syncs with the cloud and everything else. So this right here, we're inside of my DevinThink. This was just something I clipped just to give you an example. I clipped the website DevinThink. This is actually running the website, the actual bookmark of the site. So if I click on a link, it's going to absolutely, let's see here, take me to that specific page. Like, I'm able to really use this as a web browser to jumping off points and keep me on task. This is the reason why I really love DevinThink. And the second reason is OCR. Any PDF I bring up in here, naturally, most softwares can't read PDFs. But with OCR, DevinThink is set up to automatically, in the background, when a new PDF come in, it transcribes it, or it reads it, or it OCRs it, whatever you want to call it, it scans it, which means that it can now read the words that's on the page which makes that PDF searchable. An easy illustration of this is the other day I was having an issue with my power window. I was able to go to my DevinThink, pull up my DaVinci Resolve user guide, do a quick search for power window. It jumps right to that part inside the PDF, and I was able to figure out that the reason why mine wasn't working was because that was a premium feature, and somehow or another my product key got removed from the software without me knowing. I was able to reinstall my product key, and then power window went right back to working. That's just one use case of how I use DevinThink. But when it comes to resources and areas, if you're familiar with the power method, then this right here, DevinThink is a must. Absolutely, I gotta have it. Okay, now coming in at number 7 on the research side is going to be something I'm sure you wouldn't expect, but it used to be concepts. Concepts was a way for me, as you can see, to be able to create my little designs. So the main reason why I used concepts was for 2 reasons. One, I wanted to wireframe my thumbnails to just spark some ideas. And then 2, I wanted to wireframe different websites or different designs. So when I go sit down at the website or my computer to build out the website, I don't have to worry about, starting with a blank screen. I have that wireframe that I could take over to Figma. From Figma, I could take over and start building it out. So those are the main reasons. I'm not an artist or any of that stuff, not even close. However, as of recently, I've switched off of concept, which cost me roughly about $50 a year. It's like $49.99 or $39.99. It's close to $50 a year after taxes, okay? And I switched over to a new app called Freeform. Now, I'm going to show you the one reason I switched over to Freeform, and that's this right here. If you look right here at this one right here, you can see these lines are straight, and the other one it wasn't. Now, if I come over here, they both have an infinite canvas, and if I click right here and I come right here and I do this, you can see that, okay, you didn't see it. Let's try that again. We're going to come right here. And when I do that, okay, this is the main reason why I like Freeform. So if we make a box, you can see it's automatically refixed the B shape of a box, but it doesn't stop there. If I grab this tool right here and I circle it, I can say resize. And from the resize, I can make it whatever I want it to be. I can make it into a straight line. I can make it into a rectangle. I can make it into a square. I can make it into whatever I want it to be. And the cool thing about it is that it's not just with that. If I come over here, I can do a circle as well. I can do a straight line as well. I can do whatever I wanted to do. Now, this is a little glitchy because I'm on a beta. So if you're running, let's say, iPad 16.5, which I think is the public release right now, then it won't be that glitchy, but you also wouldn't have this feature. This feature starts in iOS 17, which is the beta that I'm running on my iPad, which is the reason why I went and canceled my Concepts subscription, because Freeform does everything I needed to do. Now, it does have an infinite canvas where you can just keep on. Well, I thought it does. You're supposed to be able to just keep scrolling in. And maybe it doesn't, or maybe it's a glitch, but I thought it had an infinite canvas. Even if it doesn't, I do know Concepts. If we come back over to Concepts, I do know Concepts has an infinite canvas. So you can just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going, because I've played with it before. But that's going to be number 6, which is Freeform, which is a free app that comes installed on your iPad already. If I needed to create a piece of content and I was in a pinch, the app that I would use is called Filmic Pro. Now, I should let it be known that Filmic Pro is what I use on my iPhone, and is also what I would use if I had to use it on here. This is what I would use. I love this app. It costs $50 a month. I'm sorry, a year. I used to have it. I have the Legacy app as well, but I just prefer to stay up to date with the most current stuff. And because I use it so much for those times where I can't pull out my camera and get the B-roll that I need, I always use this. And to be honest with you, people don't think you're recording when you have an iPad mini. And as you can see, this is how it looks. It's basically you seeing what I'm looking at and all that other cool stuff. So this is my go-to app if I need to create some content, which is going to be number 7, I think, or number 8, one of the two, which is going to be Filmic Pro. All right, so coming in at number 9, which honestly, if I'm being completely honest with you, was a very hard decision because this is the iPad mini. And I'll tell you the one that's a close runner up. All right, so number 9 is going to be LumaFusion. Now, I hear you. If you watch any of my other videos, you know I love DaVinci Resolve. But as you can see here, I have it on the board for you. I have an example. This is where I've already created this video. I went through it. I didn't like it because I didn't feel like it was, I feel like I was too nervous. I wasn't just being myself. I wasn't really being me. I was being what, I've seen other tech tubers be, and I never want to come off like that. So I decided to recut the video, which gives me a good prompt for this. So if you look right here, this is a project. The main reason why I picked LumaFusion is because LumaFusion, if you're recording on your iPad, if you're recording your screen, that comes out to be like 30 frames per second. More times than not, you need it to be like the 29.938 or whatever it is, 95, whatever. Moral of the story is, what you need that to match the same frame rate. So what I do is, instead of just taking that footage and dropping it on my computer, knowing I'm gonna have syncing issues with my audio and the speed of the video, I'll run it through here. And what I'll do is I'll go to photos, and you can see where I have it automatically set at 23.98. Okay, so it's 23.98. And I can leave that like that, or if I wanted to, I can bump it up to 4K. And then from there, I can see my file size is going to be 7 gigabytes. Another reason why I picked this over DaVinci Resolve is because honestly, it's easier to edit on here than in DaVinci Resolve, because on DaVinci Resolve, well, I'll show you. DaVinci Resolve is an awesome tool, but let me show you what I mean. I'm going to say, okay, it's loading my projects. Do you see how all my projects right now aren't linked up? I have to wait on those projects to get synced up in DaVinci Resolve because it's being pulled from Photos app. Now, it's gonna eventually sync up, but because Apple offloads your photos to the cloud and downloads it when you actually go to click on it or want to send it, it's hard for DaVinci Resolve to keep up, which means that in DaVinci Resolve eyes, all of these files was broke. You see it just popped up. All those files was broke. And if you have a huge timeline, you don't want to do that. Personally, I don't want to do it. I don't like it. So that's one of the big downsides to DaVinci Resolve. One of the best things about DaVinci Resolve is the color. Now, if you look at this is another thing I noticed about DaVinci Resolve. If you look at this, look how I look washed out. Look how it looks like over bright. Now, let's come back over to LumaFusion, and we're going to click on a project. Let's click the plus button, and let's go right here to that same project. And let's go back over, and look how much different I look. And that's no color correction. Now, I will say that my skin tones don't look the best. I look kind of magenta in here. I look a little magenta, but other than my skin tones, the rest of the image looks good, from my shirt to the car to everything else. Opposed to, if we come back over here, I look washed out. The car, everything else look overly saturated, meaning I need to pull down some of the highlights and things like that, which DaVinci Resolve make it super easy to do, so I'm not complaining about that at all. And usually what I do is I'll edit everything inside of LumaFusion, and then I will come back over to DaVinci Resolve to color grade it if I'm doing a one talking head video. So I kind of let the hat out the bag, but my 9th pick is LumaFusion, and my honorable mention is DaVinci Resolve. Okay, so number 10 is going to be Infinity Photo. Now, the reason why I like Infinity Photo so much is because, honestly, I don't really care for doing thumbnails. I'm working on getting better at them, but it's kind of rough when you know you suck at thumbnails, but you got to do them anyway. So, as you can see right here, this is the thumbnail I did for the Prime Day picks that I was telling you about earlier. Now, here's the reason why I love Infinity Photo so much. Is because I can come to open, I can click on import document, I can click on my thumbnail, and guess what? I have a perfectly sized thumbnail with all my grids and layouts for me to just be able to start creating my YouTube thumbnail. And I could do this with anything that I want. If I was into, let's say, building out t-shirt designs or something like that, I can create this, save it as a template, and be able to always pull it down with ease. I really, really love that feature inside of Infinity Photo because it makes getting started that much easier. And the fact that I'm doing it on here makes it seem less aggressive, less pressure. It's kind of like they say when you're looking at a small camera versus a big camera. So my top pick for number 10 is going to be Infinity Photo. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's number one? And if you're not thinking that, you should have been thinking, what's number one? Well, number one is without a doubt, unquestionably, shortcuts. I would not, you couldn't get me to switch to Android because of shortcuts. Now, as we all know, workflow turned into shortcuts. And where there's workflow or shortcuts, there's no alternative on Android to my knowledge that I've been able to find on my S21 Ultra. So for me personally, hands down, the app that I use the most is shortcuts. I just want to show you just a few of them. Now, we talked earlier about OmniFocus, and I told you I was going to tell you why I love OmniFocus so much. This shortcut right here uses task paper. Don't worry about the screen going over because that's beta is, I hope they come out with a fix for it, but because I'm running the beta, I'm running into glitches. This is one of the glitches. All right, so you can see it saying, what's the project name? I'm going to say demo. And now when I say demo, looks what happened. We're going to open up OmniFocus. And with OmniFocus, once I open it up, I'm going to go to inbox, scroll all the way down, and look at what happened. I get the exact same template from TickTick, and I get the project name. Now, I call this project demo, but obviously I would match it up to say whatever it says in TickTick. And this would be all the stuff that I need to get done before I'm able to publish that video. It's simple, it's elegant, and I absolutely love it. Now, let me show you something with TickTick. The reason why I can never switch. We're going to click on Ultimate Quick Capture, right? I'm going to click on Will Talks Tech, and I'm going to say, let's say, okay, so I'm back, and after playing around with the keyboard because of the beta, I was able to type it in. You can see it says the start of something new. I would like to create a tech channel that allows me to talk tech. All right, so I'm going to say done. What it's going to do is it's going to open up to Will Talk Tech. As you can see, it did it on the side. Click the plus button. Now, if I simply click paste, I can paste it right there. I can copy this right here. If I grab, well, my beta is really glitching. All right, so I finally was able to grab that whole sentence. I can click cut. And then what I can do here is I can bring that all the way up, pull that down, and then paste that headline in. And now I have whatever it is I wanted to capture. The problem with that is it is a lot more, you have to do a lot more work to get the same thing that comes straight out the box in OmniFocus. And this is because OmniFocus used task paper, and as of today, TickTick does not use task paper. So another one that I like is the way I was able to get to cut down on my apps on the screen is if I click review, all this is a shortcut that allows me to pick between OmniFocus or TickTick. So if I wanted to review OmniFocus, I click on OmniFocus, and now I'm inside the app and I can go look at whatever it is I wanted to look at. And the same thing would have happened if I clicked on TickTick. So I have a ton of shortcuts. I'm going to show you one more, which is one that I use for MyNote. I showed you how much I like MyNote earlier. I can say demo, say done. What this is going to do is it's going to open up MyNote. And the cool thing about this is I can say 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. And guess what? When I click on create document, it opens up to whatever it is I put in the outline. But more importantly, you see right here, where it says demo at the top left-hand corner, guess what? That renamed the file for me right here. This right here, this little feature is so powerful because if you just open up MyNote and you start typing, it does not rename the file for you, whatever is inside this node. You have to click over that and rename it. If not, when you go look for a file, everything is going to say my map 1, my map 2, my map 3. So the fact that I can create a shortcut that allows me to write the project name, get my outline down, and then go into the mind map, I'm telling you, it is phenomenal. The next thing I'm going to figure out how to do is how to create a shortcut that allows me to create a template for when I'm creating a YouTube research, because I do the same thing every time. I just haven't took the time to do it, but that's the next thing I'm going to be working on. So I'm going to delete this right quick just because I want to make sure I don't forget it. And honestly, this is Siri Shortcut. Like, I honestly could not live without Siri Shortcut because it makes the boring stuff so much funner. Being able to come in, play with a shortcut is awesome. Now, right now you can see down here I'm working on a clipper, a web clipper, because I want to be able to clip anything from the web. Right now you can see I have an Obsidian version 2 that I've created that allows me to clip things from only Safari. It specifically works in Safari, but I want to create an ultimate clipper that allows me to work anywhere and clip anything. I've been playing around with Paste. That's an app that allows you to copy and paste, and so far so well, the parameters allow me to, like, pick from everything that's on the board and push parameters through and allow me to copy stuff. However, it hasn't been that easy because Paste, it is finicky with the way it pastes stuff. It doesn't paste in order. It pastes kind of random on the clipboard, but I'm going into geek mode. Moral of the story, I love Siri Shortcuts, hands down. The most important app I have based around automation. Now, I want to give you 2 honorable mentions. The first one I've already talked about, which was DaVinci Resolve. And since I already talked about DaVinci Resolve, let me give you an additional one. The first one is going to be Obsidian. Now, I wish I could show it to you on my iPad, but honestly, it hasn't been working on my iPad. But I guess now it's working. So I'm going to click Trust It. Okay, and it's doing the updates. And what I like about this is you can see, let's see, areas, resources. Okay, so this is my actual one. So you can see I have 260 files up in here. And what I like about this is I'm able to come over here to, if I click on, let's say, if I click on my slip box, because that's where everything is at. Slip box is based off a scientist whose name I can't think of right now, but basically had all these different cards that allow him to be able to pull back relevant information when he needed to work on it. And I think he had he had an absurd amount of cards that he had at the time. He was able to do like 13 books or something, but I will create a video on that later on. But this is the slip box. This is my slip box. So if I look up science, if I click on science, I can see effects. And these are just some of the effects that we are subject to. So we have the Dunning-Kruger effect. We have the cognitive bias. It just tells me what it is and gives me a quick little overview of how I can use it, or if I want to talk about it, what it is and how to create a piece of content around it or something like that. So when I'm reading books and they give me case studies like this, you can see right here, I have the Dunning-Kruger effect, and you can see it goes out to cognitive bias or self-awareness, and it's an article right here. So I really, really like that. And this slip box, for me personally, is also inside of my DevinThink, but I like it inside of here because this offers me something that DevinThink doesn't, and I'll show that to you right now, which is this right here. Now, I like this because it allows me to see like how things link up, how they connect in odd, weird ways. And for me, DevinThink, while DevinThink does have something similar that links up, it's not as intuitive as Obsidian. So I still use Obsidian all the time for my slip box, but for all my research and all that other stuff, I chuck it into DevinThink. If I'm doing some critical work, I'm going to my slip box because my slip box is what's been refined over time. okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you. So this is what I like. This is the reason why I use it, and I'm able to just zoom in and see that stuff. And this is my iPad. Like, come on. Like, you gotta see how awesome this is. This is your iPad mini that you can throw in your pocket and take anywhere. So that's my first honorable mention, which is Obsidian. My last honorable mention, which I'm pretty sure you was probably expecting it on the list, is Lightroom. Now, the reason why I picked Infinity Photo over Lightroom is because pound for pound, Infinity Photo does more, have more features, but more importantly, it has the one key thing that I always find myself needing, which is the pen tool and the node feature that goes with the pen tool that allows you to adjust the little nodes that you make with the pen tool. For me personally, that is an invaluable thing. I gotta have it. I get it. Some people out there have a different app that can remove the background and stuff like that. And if it's a simple background to remove, like right here, like it's a solid color, then that's cool. But this would probably be a little bit difficult because it's certain ways that the lights is hitting the wall, which is changing up the color of the background. So for me, I just go the simple way and use the pen tool. So I like to correct my color up in here. As you can see, I was playing around with this one right here while I was correcting the color. Then I take it over to Infinity Photo and I export it. And from that export, I'll cut it out and go from there. I can still do that in Infinity Photo. So for example, if I took a picture, let's see if I have a picture that I can pull up in Infinity Photo, because technically I can still do the same thing. It's just that with Infinity Photo, it's not as intuitive. So let me click right here and see if this one will let me do it. So I like how clean that image looks fantastic to me, but I want to see something. I'm going to click on this DNG. Let's see if it let me do it. Okay, it's not going to let me do it because I guess, let's see here, development. Nope, it's not going to let me do it. All right, no problem. But basically, if I had a raw file, which I don't have on here, and I'm too scared to try to just snap a picture because I'm scared it's going to cut off, it's going to stop the video of me recording my screen. But if I had a raw file, I could easily go into development mode inside of Infinity Photo, which is one of the personas, and it'll give me the same stuff on the side over here. Well, not the masking stuff to my knowledge, but the, being able to play with the light, the color, the effects, the texture, the detail, the geometry, all that stuff would be over there as well. So that's the reason why I picked Infinity Photo over Lightroom. All right, so those are my two honorable mentions. Hopefully you see now how this is a powerhouse. Like, honestly, like the stuff that you can get done on here as an entrepreneur or as a solo entrepreneur or as a person who's doing something that they don't want to grab their laptop for because it makes it boring, but they want something more interactive. This, I'm telling you, it makes it so much funner, and it just makes it insanely better all the way around. Now, the reason why I didn't mention Notion, just in case, because Notion is on my screen. The reason why I haven't mentioned Notion is because, honestly, I find that I have Notion on my widgets area, but I really haven't been using Notion like that. I've been defaulting back to always. Like, I like Notion on here, but the problem is, when it comes to Notion, like you kind of get lost in the weeds sometime. And I found myself making it overly complex than it needs to be. Like, if you look at my content roll up, like, these are the things that I need to be working on, I should be working on, but I wanted something a little bit simpler. The whole reason why I picked up Notion was because I wanted a place to manage my projects. Notion didn't work for me. That's the reason why I defaulted to TickTick. TickTick was my Notion replacement. And to be honest with you, as clean and simple as it is what I want. I want simplicity all day long. I want something that I can just get in there and I can use. I don't like the fact that it don't have as many automation features as OmniFocus do, but I'm cool with it because this is just my content pipeline. If I open up TickTick, I'm only looking at it for content ideas. What are my content ideas? What's my active projects? And that's it. That's the only thing I can see here. Everything else is in OmniFocus. Everything else that I need to do, whether it's even if I was finna sit out and build out Will Talk Tech, which is on the to-do list, that would be put into OmniFocus, not TickTick. TickTick is where I come when I want to spark ideas, or it's my space for just creativity. Basically, there's nothing else up there to distract me from creativity. And I spent however much it costs annually for TickTick just for that one thing. And I dropped Notion. So that's the reason why you didn't see me open up Notion today. But I didn't get rid of Notion and I still pay for it because who knows? I might decide that it's another reason why I need to continue to use Notion, because I just don't need Notion anymore for housing my projects, but I still want to use Notion for other things. So that's how that worked out. And with that being said, I'm the Digital DIY Geek. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more tech content like this, I highly recommend you click the link in the first link in the description. Go over to Will Talk Tech, because that's where all the tech videos are going to be at from now on. And this video, if you like it here, is still going to be about, building a business step by step and showing you where I'm clicking, how I'm clicking, what I'm making, and how I'm doing it. With that being said, I'm the Digital DIY Geek. I'll see you in the next video, and I hope to see you at Will Talks Tech. Till next time, later.